This week's blog post is why spirituality and faith belong in the mental health conversation. And I have Casby on here to give his perception or spin on it.
How you doing?
Would you like to introduce yourself, your little Hampton intro?
Okay. My name is Casby Coffee, as you heard. I'm a junior right now. My major is broadcast journalism. I want to have my own radio TV show one day. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
So, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Why spirituality and faith belong in the mental health conversation.
Well, that's a good question. I think that they go hand in hand with each other. I'm currently going through a situation right now. I'm on a mental health break right now. For I'm on a leave of absence due to my mental health. So, one thing that I've learned through this journey is that in the mental health area in a hospital, they diagnose people with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder and all these different things, and you know they they don't include faith into it. Like, I would try to talk to the doctors and people about my faith and the fact that I would hear God's voice, and they were like, "Oh, you're hearing voices, oh, up the medication." It's like, what? I'm not hearing voices. I just learned how to hear God's voice. And so it's just like the mental health facility, they don't support that. They, due to their own beliefs, they basically just like dismiss it and think that you have a illness because you can hear the voice of the Lord. And so that really kind of irritated me through my journey, because I didn't know how to tell somebody how to cross that bridge to the point where I knew how to hear God. But, they would, tell me I'm hearing voices in my head and try to slap schizophrenia or psychosis onto that because of their own beliefs. Yeah, I think that, the faith and the mental health, they go hand in hand with each other, and they could really clash one another, because I believe that science supports the existence of God. And so it's really difficult when you're trying to receive help from a mental health facility when they don't know or they don't consider faith in any aspect or in any way. So, yeah.
Where's the line between having it in the conversation and then like protecting our government rights of leaving religion out of like government business and stuff?
I would say, like, just have courtesy and respect for, other people's boundaries. Like, if, like there's specific, like in the Bible, there's instances and actual uh instances in the Bible where people, hear God's voice and stuff like that. And so I feel like um the government, or, the hospitals in general, they look at that as just, make believe, things that people just believe in, but they're actual things that actually happened in history, in time, that are in the book. And so, like, they're kind of disregarding that, and not really, taking it, as reality, when, they're kind of making up their own reality. So, if that makes any sense.
If you're comfortable, would you like to talk about your time at the facility?
Yeah. Basically, my time at the facility, there are people there who were struggling with, their mental health and everything like that. And they uh were there for different reasons. And one thing that I noticed, I talked to the people that was in the facility with me. They all had a problem with their belief in God, and some of them abandoned it, and some of them, were just picking it up as they got into facility. So I really think it's very important that, we take into account these things, these beliefs that we have, and especially when it's believing in factual evidence. Um, and it was different for me because they would, reward for good behavior. If you behaved in the psych ward or in the place, they would let you go smoke a cigarette outside. Like, and it was kind of weird. Like, I didn't do it, but it was kind of weird to see how, the people that have an addiction, and they kind of put fuel to the fire on that addiction to, like, you know maintain good behavior in the psych ward, in the facility. And so I told the people, I don't smoke, so my cigarette was basically reading the Bible. They gave me a Bible in there, and I was reading the Bible, while I was in there, and it was giving me peace, and it was giving me it was allowing me to stay strong during that whole experience. And so it's a lot of, and I believe that hospitals, as in general, is a place where people go to find God. Like,
Mm.
that's what I noticed during my experience. Like hospitals are a lot of time when you're sent to go to a hospital, it's something detrimental or something scary that's happening to you that causes you to get at a low moment. So when you at the low moments, a lot of people they cling to a religion or they call out God's name, and they end up finding themselves and stuff like that. And so that's kind of how I see hospitals in my and hospitals, they really strengthened my faith and everything like that when I was when I was in the mental health facility. So
So do you think that you need medication? Do you feel better on it? You said you felt better, but do you think you need it?
they always say, like, the people who have mania and stuff like that, they don't want to stop being manic, like they feel like they're on top of the world, and that's really how I was feeling.
Hmm.
So right now, I feel fine. I feel regular, like a normal dude. It's just, you know, the stuff that I was going through, the stuff that I was seeing, the stuff that I was doing while I was in that state, um, made so much sense to me at the time. But my family or the people around me, they kept telling me that that wasn't me. But I feel normal. Like it's no problem. It's just that I was having. This is gonna sound weird, but I was having so much more fun when I was manic.
No, I get that.
You know, I needed the medication. It was hard for me to relax because I had so much dopamine going on. I didn't even want to go to sleep. And so I couldn't sleep. I could barely eat. And so now I could eat again. And, I was getting really, really skinny when I was, uh, off the medication. But, it's here to help me, man. I can still hear God. I can still read, all of that stuff. But
Like that's a good point to make. That God has a plan for everyone, and in your plan, it might just be to take take
yeah,
stuff like seriously. Wow, that's great. And it just hit me that Cat Casby, how old are you?
I'm 21.
You're 21. So
Yeah,
you were with the adults, right?
right.
How old was the oldest person in there?
I don't think I asked anybody their age, but it looks like people that was like maybe in their 40s. Like there was this one really old guy, man. He had to be like in his 60s or something. So yeah, it was weird.
When I was on my vacation, I was 17. So I was in the
Yeah,
so I was in the little kid area. And
right.
the youngest kid in there was 8.
Wow.
And then I was the oldest kid. And bro, it's discouraging because when you talk to them, I don't know if you had the same experience, but when I talked to them, they were like the smartest people I have ever talked to.
Right. Yeah, that's how it works.
How would you define faith?
Well, we all know that it's the substance of what we believe in. I forget the scripture, but how I personally see it, I see it as, like faith is something that you have to have. Like you can't try to make sense out of life. Like you can't make like in this journey that we're walking like with the Lord, life is not gonna make sense. There's gonna be moments in life where it's not gonna make sense at all, but you still have to keep that faith that you're on the right path, that you will be rewarded for the things that you've done. And faith really, if I could really put it in my own words, is just stop trying to make sense of it. You know, like the stuff that we have faith for, the stuff that God has promised us, it doesn't look like we're gonna get it in our certain circumstances that we're in right now, because um the beginning stages of it, you're not gonna be able to see it with your eyes. But if you truly lean in your faith on God, you're gonna be able to. It's gonna come to pass, and slowly your reality is gonna start to change, and it's gonna match what you have faith for. So,
Well said. It's like mental resilience because you know it's going to happen.
right, yeah, I would just say, like that was a good note. Keep faith. You know what I'm saying? Even though it might not look right. It might not, the things that we're asking for it might not look like, it's going to come to pass. It could be completely contrary to how the world is right now. But if you keep believing and you continue to seek the kingdom first, everything else going to come and it's going to happen. And it's only crazy until it happens, just like my boy Mike Todd. It's only crazy till it happens. So
I have to thank you, honestly. I've been wanting to thank you for a minute now because you were a big reason why I started to like come up with this idea in my head. What had happened was, what had happened was I was going on and on in my head. My brain was processing stuff, and I was like, wow, like people really get to a point where they feel hopeless and blah blah blah. And like where I was last year, like I was like, I don't care. I wasn't close to God, nothing. And then I thought about you, and I was like, Casby is like like ridiculously like close to God. He just says anything, like he's like a walking scripture. And I was like, dang, like if Casby's in the same situation, I don't know what happened. I don't know how you got this. I don't know how
yeah,
anything went down. But I was just like, if Casby's in that same situation, there has to be more to it. There has
yeah,
to be more to it. So I was like, okay, well, let me like so I did my research. If you have time, you could read all the blogs that I wrote.
right.
They're I did my research and I was like trying to figure stuff out. And I knew I was like, bro, I have to talk to Casby. Thank you for talking with me.
No, thank you for being curious. Thank you. It's good to hear other people went through the same thing I went through. So that's awesome.
And that's another point that I wanted to make with this platform that like you're not alone. Just
Thank you.